This week, we talk about the importance of tracking. Also, we'll take the mystery out of the knees over toes guy and update you on our caffeine consumption. Let's get into it.
Dude, this is like Dewey Day. This is all the shit that I'm interested in.
I picked some good topics for you.
Yeah, I really like the...
Speaking of our... Because we did our...
I mean, it's great.
Right, so we did our episode on the caffeine stuff last week, right? And coffee in general, right?
Sneaky caffeine.
Right, so that's what made me think, am I drinking carbonated water, natural flavors, stevia, leaf extract, citric acid. Okay, so this one...
You need readers.
Why? I got another 2 inches of arm left. Caffeine free. Okay, so the cream
That's like
soda.
one of the few.
Yeah, the colas and all that have caffeine, but
Yep.
the cream soda, no caffeine. So this one I can drink at night.
Even the orange has caffeine.
It does?
Yep.
Oh, shit. That's a sneaky one then.
It is.
Yeah.
Really, the grape too.
Oh, okay. I knew the cola did, but wow. You like the Zevia stuff though? To me, it tastes like compromise and shame.
It does taste
but it
like
works.
compromise. It tastes like...
But it works.
Again, back to the tastes like NA beer.
Yeah. You're giving something up.
Yep.
Which is fine.
Speaking of beer, day 10 for me, by the way.
Of drinking a beer every day?
Nope. I'm not having any.
Not having any. How's it feel?
Honestly, no different.
Yeah.
Workouts are better.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I bet.
Yep.
Yeah, there's really no benefit there to having it. So
No, there's only a detriment.
Right. No shit. All right, so we're going to talk about some fun stuff this week. So yeah, let's get into, since we did our coffee/caffeine episode last week, let's get into our tracking of caffeine. I'll start because I know you're probably going to decimate me in your numbers here. So
Not really.
my average was 383 a day milligrams of caffeine. So basically I got this app. I think we both have the same app because I just looked at the screenshot you sent and got the same one.
Okay.
And then you enter in every time you have something with caffeine in it.
Yep.
So I'm averaging 383 a day. And I wanted to pull up this site here.
383.
Yep. And it says here and we covered this last week, but just to reiterate, for healthy adults, the FDA has cited 400 milligrams a day, that's about 4 or 5 cups of coffee, as an amount not generally associated with dangerous negative effects. So they don't say it's good, but they just say that's not going to hurt you too bad. So, and interesting thing on the app, that was kind of the line.
Right.
400 was like, okay,
Yep.
don't go over this amount.
Right.
So what was yours?
I only did 2 days because then I'm like, yeah, that's enough. It's the same exact amount I drink every day.
Right. So what was it?
That was within a few. First day it was like 486.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No. Second day was like 480.
Okay. So you're a cup over maybe the
But
average.
it was exactly what I thought it was going to be like.
Right.
Because I'm punching in the cups in the morning. I'm like,
You can extrapolate knowing where you're going to end up.
no, I was like, I don't need another one.
Oh, so the act of measuring
Yep.
kept you in control.
Yep.
Okay.
Just like tracking
And
food.
yeah, we're going to get into that when we talk about the tracking, the psychological effect that's at play there. So if you left your own devices, if Geraldo or some other investigative journalist followed you around and looked throughout the bushes and tracked you every day, where do you think you would have realistically been? 600?
Yeah. I bet it would have been 30% more
Okay.
or better.
Still not too insane, though.
I think it is.
They're basically saying 400 isn't, if he's 400 or less is not going to hurt you. So would 600 really be that bad? Probably not.
Yeah. I mean,
You might just have negative life effects as far as, being able to sleep and all the reasons, but it's
if
not
that's
gonna,
the demarcation line,
right.
then how much above it? There's got to be a graduated scale on both sides.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So there you go. So do you think you're going to limit yourself, or are you just back to like guzzling?
I might limit myself even more and more because the plot thickens. I got a weighted blanket.
Oh, shit.
and
I heard about those.
sleeping like a fucking baby.
Nothing worse than a lame ass light blanket, right?
Oh, this
They
thing's
suck.
it's only 20 pounds, but it's heavy when you hold it by itself. But when you like spread it out, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But it's just enough to just in your sleep if you're like
To womb
a
you.
little restless.
Just enough to womb you up a little?
You're swaddled.
Yep. I should come over and practice my swaddling on you
Oh, yeah, we probably not.
when they do newborn photo shoots. And
Yep.
after having 3 kids, I was the swaddle master. I remember going into before I was even into photography and had done any newborn shoots or anything, I had my first kid. And I remember the nurses up at Sanford, they were just like,
Oh, yeah, right.
They would do it in like 4 seconds. I'm like, holy crap.
Ninjas.
And I couldn't even, it took me weeks to get the perfect swaddle down.
See, now we missed out because now if you're spitting out kids, just go to YouTube.
Right. Yeah.
You pause it, rewind it.
But there's something, one of the main, and we're getting way off track here,
Yeah,
but
no shit.
one of the main things to calm down newborns is swaddling, right?
For sure.
Swaddling, swaying, soothing. There's like a 5 S's or whatever, but swaddling's a big one. So it stands to reason, though, that why wouldn't that remain true into adulthood?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's working for me. Is it placebo? No.
I don't
think so.
I don't
Because the
think so.
blanket's heavy. It's not a fake heavy.
No.
It's
Not like someone said, here's a 20-pound blanket. Ooh,
Right.
Just kidding.
right. Right.
Yeah, you'd know if you
Yeah.
could feel if it's heavier.
But my whole life I've been a super restless sleeper.
Let me ask you this:
just enough.
Do you and your wife share a blanket, or do you each have your own blanket?
Each have our own.
Okay. So does she use the heavy one?
No.
She get one too? Okay.
No.
I wonder if she'll notice, if she were to try it, if she would notice a similar effect. Is she restless? Or
No. No. She's lay her head down like this in the same position and wake up there 8 hours later. And I'm so jealous.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those in Menards and
Really? I haven't
in the
seen
as
them in
seen on
stores.
TV section.
Oh, really?
They have those
Yeah.
just called kind of weird products, and they do have weighted blankets. And I almost bought one. I'm like, I think I would love that because I'm like the throw 2 blankets on guy,
Okay.
and give me like a nice, a nice what do they call it? Like a quilt with some some
yeah.
mass.
Yep.
I love those.
Yeah, and it's kind of like that, but it's thin, so it's not thick, so you don't get
What do they
hot.
put in?
And
Is it
I think
some
it's
type of
sand.
metal? Oh, okay, yeah.
I think it's sand. It feels like sand.
Must have little pockets in there and
Yep.
like a layer of it. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay.
And I don't get hot.
Well, that's
it's super thin.
That's the thing.
And I made sure to get the breathable one, the chilling one that was thinner. The fabric is thinner, but it's just as heavy.
Yeah, that's the trade-off because whenever I put a heavy quilt on, of course, it's hot as hell.
Yep.
So if it's summer, that sucks.
Yep.
Excellent. I'm going to try that.
It works. I think so. I mean, so far, so good. Only 2 nights in, but
Right.
I ordered it on Saturday and got here Tuesday.
Okay, so I saw this study here that was kind of funny. Now, we're always talking about fake meat, right? The plant-based meat stuff.
I got in an argument with a kid on Twitter that's like, said it's full-blown vegan, but he says he's not.
Right. You won't admit
He
it.
just follows the science. And
Send him this article then,
he said that
if he's doing that.
he has zero doubt in his mind,
Wow.
that we will eventually make a meat byproduct from plants that's more nutritious than meat.
Oh, dude. First of all, why?
Mother Nature says, bring it.
Why would you want
it's-
to do that?
I don't know.
Well, all the vegan reasons, I guess.
Yep.
To not.
Well, because there's no.
He thinks it's better for the environment. He thinks it's better for the animals.
Yeah, the
et cetera, et
saturated
cetera.
fat. There's no fat.
Yep.
Doesn't clog your arteries.
Yeah. Well, anytime anyone has zero doubt, that's a giant red flag.
Yeah.
Because even I think you're hyper confident. I'm a hyper confident person. I'm never make that kind of declaration.
Right.
Like even when, if we're going to argue about carnivore stuff in a bit here, I'm never like 100%.
Right.
I mean, show me a bunch of people getting different results and I'll look at it. Mm-hmm. That's the way it is. But okay. So this article for the audio listeners, plant-based meat, not nutritionally the same as real meat. So Duke University researchers looked at the nutritional content of plant-based meat alternatives using Metabolomics. Well, that's a new term. Haven't heard of that one. Okay. So plant-based meat alternatives may look and cook like real meat, but scientists say that the nutritional components may not be the same. Researchers at Duke University compared 36 food samples, 18 of widely known plant-based meat alternatives, to 18 grass-fed ground beef options from a ranch in Idaho. For each sample, they measured the number of metabolites, small molecules that make up the nutrients in food. The study, published in the Journal for Scientific Report, or in the journal Scientific Reports, discovered the beef contained 22 metabolites that the plant-based substitutes did not have. The plant-based meat, meanwhile, contained 31 metabolites that meat did not include. Researchers found the largest disparities were in vitamins, amino acids, and types of saturated and unsaturated fatty acids found in both food products, among other variables. Alternative meat makers mimic the look, taste, and texture of meat with iron-carrying molecules from soy, among other ingredients like beets and berries, and ramp up the protein with soy, peas, and other plant-based ingredients. Additionally, some alternative meat products contain vitamins such as B12 to create a similar nutritional profile to real meat. The study, however, found that several metabolites proven to be vital to human health were either found exclusively or in greater amounts of beef, including creatine, spermine, I don't like that name. What am I eating? Anserine.
I think you know.
Cysteine. What's that one? Cysteamine.
Yeah.
Glucosamine, squalene, and omega-3 fatty acid DHA, researchers said. Yeah, I mean, you just can't. What's weird to me is like, I don't understand why they're trying to reproduce the look and the feel, because if you're a vegan and you're disgusted by the slaughter of animals.
They're not. They're trying to win over the non-vegans.
I guess. But, I mean,
because the vegans are already on their team.
Why would you want to mow down something that mimics
anything,
the decaying flesh?
As you eat fake pop.
Yeah, but I'm not disgusted by fake pop.
Right.
I don't think it's murder.
You're not disgusted by real pop, you mean?
Or by real pop. Yeah, I don't think it's murder. And like, this is the flesh of something. You know, it's like, hey, this is disgustingly horrible, but let's mimic our food, make our food exactly like that. I just never understand that.
I think you're referring to 1% of vegans. The other 99 are not disgusted by it. They do it for health reasons, what they believe to be health reasons.
Exactly. They just think it's a healthy alternative.
Yep.
They would much rather just have the burger. So just have the burger, people.
It's like no different than the low-fat craze.
Yep.
Low-fat cookies? Eat the whole box.
Snackwells, remember?
Yep. It says it right on there.
Snackwells, dude. That stuff was crazy. All right.
RuPaul is still around?
Oh, yeah.
Good for her.
Yep. Okay. So, you put up a massive troll.
Oh, no. I didn't troll.
Yeah.
I mean that.
You trolled me.
Well, you took it that way. I meant it.
I was trolled.
I meant it.
I was trolled on purpose by you. You targeted me. No, you put up a thing on your, you triggered me. That's really the term.
There you go.
I was triggered.
Yes.
I went, what the? I literally went, huh? Harumph. I made various noises like harumph when I saw it. But you just, and I can see you typing it too. I was like, he was going, this is going to piss people off. But you said on your Facebook, you put, I do not recommend the carnivore diet. And then you just left it alone. Like,
I did not.
God damn it, Dewey. You're such a troll. I do not recommend the carnivore diet. And then you just like left the building.
Off the mic.
Right. You lit the dynamite and you threw it into the lake. Then you just let it blow up the fishes.
And then I had to do an edit.
And I saw it and went, harumph. This won't stand.
I did it. Then I had to do an edit.
Oh, what'd you say?
I said, no, I'm not doing the carnivore diet. Because everyone took it as I was doing it. And it wasn't going well.
Oh,
That's
gotcha.
not how I wrote it.
Oh, right. You were just saying, because you haven't done it. I mean, you've tried it.
For like a day and a half.
Right, but you haven't
and I did
kept it up for a week or a month or anything.
No.
So you posted that, knowing it would trigger me, because then you texted me within like 20 minutes, like, hey, we have to argue about this.
Yeah.
Or ask me about this. So, okay, let's hear it. Well, then you expounded. You got in a couple, discussions with people on your post.
Yeah.
Questioning you. So what was your... What was your main gripe?
My main gripe, and I'll go on record and make it official.
That's right. We're being recorded like 4 different ways here. So
There's no denying it now. Guess I ain't running for mayor. I've done enough research to lead me down the path.
you have zero doubt, you mean?
Nope. Nope. I'll never say that. I'm like, Twitter boy, get out of your mom's basement. The data that is out there currently has led me down a path that I do believe that LDL and HDL are important.
Okay, so it's a cholesterol
And
issue.
It's your lipoproteins, and it's your all of that blood work.
Right.
I just think the LP little a and the LDLC and all of that stuff is a predictor of cardiovascular disease.
Okay.
I firmly that all of the evidence that we have thus far points to that.
So then you're thinking,
Well, here's my rationing too. I'm going to break it down simply. So here's a pipe. Here's a garden hose.
I feel like I'm about to get trolled again.
if
If
the
you say
garden-
it gets gummed up,
If the garden hose does get gummed up, but it does. You can't argue that. You can't argue that it gets gummed up. But what you're saying, what the carnivores are saying,
people that
is
have heart
it's not-
disease, you're saying they have that,
Yes.
right?
No. If you have high cholesterol, that means you have blockage.
Right.
Maybe small, but you have blockage. So, in what alternate universe does that garden hose being plugged up with dirt not get less water through? And when it and in what alternate universe does it not matter?
Are you done?
For now. So that I would see the garden hose is your arteries, and the dirt is the buildup.
So you're saying you subscribe to the heart health hypothesis,
Traditional medicine,
the old
yes.
school, like
Yep.
the whole reason the food pyramid exists.
No, not at all. Because some of that food pyramid stuff is bullshit too.
Because the evil saturated fat needs to be cut down. Okay, so what is it about, let's say, carnivore diet versus whatever you think is the optimal diet? What is it about the carnivore diet specifically that is contributing to that more plugged garden hose?
I think it's the quantity of fat in the diet. I really do, and the type of fat. Let's face it.
So
And,
really,
and it's also had me really, really, really going down another path. This is another news flash, breaking. I'm really questioning if anyone should ever do dirty keto.
now what do
Ever.
just to define that real quick so people know what
Well,
that
the
is.
people that just think they can eat 7 pounds of bacon all day long and
right.
eat ribeyes.
Right. So really, it's not the percentage of animal foods that you're griping. It's the fat versus protein ratio.
Fat versus protein, but also
If somebody just ate
the
lean
plants.
chickens, if somebody just ate leaner meats, but was all animal, no vegetables, do you think that's more or less healthy than the guy eating ribeyes all day?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you think who's healthier, the guy eating leaner meats and only animal products versus the guy who also eats lettuce and asparagus and stuff?
I still think you need. I'm still going to lean towards the vegetable side because there's also, this is a whole other conversation. Sometimes they get lumped together, but because that's where food all goes in the same spot. But I think the carnivore community is drastically underestimating the importance of gut health. And the best thing I saw recently that summed it up was you don't eat plants for you eat them for your gut.
Right. Yeah, I remember you said that like last week or the week before.
So that's the rabbit hole that I've gone down.
Right.
And there is piles of data. If you put the pieces of paper on top of each other and stacked them as high as the ceiling, you could fill this room in 5 minutes
Right.
of data that says 1 + 1 = 2 with the cholesterol levels and cardiovascular disease.
All right.
Nobody with an unblocked arteries had cardiovascular disease.
True. Now, so really the question, and I agree with that, if you have the arterial, whatever they call it,
that's
arteriosclerosis
cirrhosis,
or whatever, that damage is there. Now, the question is what's indicative of the cause and what's indicative of something that's trying to repair. See, and I'll bring up this article pretty much sums up my viewpoint on this. Now, this is Carnivore Aurelius, our favorite troll. But I think he wrote this before he became a troll because this is just like straight up legit, logical stuff.
He's really hard to take serious.
Well, yeah, because his Twitter stuff. Like the other day, he said, "I take no one seriously that says sugar is poisonous," and I mean, he said stuff just to piss people off. So, but ignore that stuff because this is just a straight up. Like I 100%, agree with just about every word in this thing.
Sure.
So I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I'll post the link here. But basically, he summarizes. He says cholesterol tends to spike in a carnivore diet. See, now I went through this when I got my stuff done. My doctor was like, we can still manage this with diet, but get ready, prepare yourself for a statin. And I was like, nah. Because of Dr. Canberry, because of this guy, because of, Saladino, Baker, all these guys, basically saying that the old school way of thinking is that cholesterol being high is a sign of actual heart disease. Whereas this article points out it's like blaming if you went up and you saw fire engines outside of a fire and saying that's the cause. They're there to do repair. That's his point. And so you wouldn't ever blame fire engines at the site of a fire.
So buildup in your arteries is a fireman?
The cholesterol is there repairing the damage done by inflammation caused by seed oils,
that doesn't make sense because
but it does.
Dr. Paul Saladino just released today that he has high cholesterol. So it's there.
Yeah, he's got a lot of fire engines.
Repairing what? He only eats animal products. So why would he have inflammation to be repaired?
That's a good point. Here, let me read his summary here. Okay, so he basically talks about cholesterol, how awesome it is. That's in every cell.
And you do need it.
Yeah, no, he says
we just don't need it to stop and start blocking and building up.
He says it's basically, super, super duper important.
Right.
Critical, and it's a function of all these hormones. I mean, this is a super...
You'll die without it.
Yeah, this is a super long...
Yep. There's zero doubt you'll die without it.
And he goes through all the different types of LDL, HDL, all that kind of stuff. So let me see. I just want to get his kind of summary because this is way too much shit to read. I mean, this is like a freaking college thesis here.
Right.
Well, here's a little thing. Okay, so what really causes heart disease? That's really what we care about, right?
Yeah.
So as we've seen, high LDL, and one thing that some carnivores do agree on is like the ratio. Like the total cholesterol. I think everybody's tossed out.
I see what you're saying.
Everybody's tossed that out now. Like even regular old school doctors go, that's pretty meaningless.
Right.
I think the ratio of the two of the ones that may be a red flag. Okay, so it says, as we've seen, high LDL levels on their own don't cause heart disease. They're not shooting into your artery walls for no reason. This is why LDL independently is not a good predictor for heart disease. Our bodies have been producing LDL cholesterol forever, but heart disease really only appeared in the last 100 years. So it can't be that LDL independently causing issues. With that being said, it doesn't mean you should ignore LDL levels because high LDL can be indicative of a broken system. It's seen in both high risk and low risk patients. So I'd like to see, like Dr. Paul, what his breakdown is.
His was,
I'm sure his cholesterol, overall cholesterol is
500.
high. Yeah, but that's the meaningless number. So really, he's saying high LDL can be indicative. So that alone might be something to look at. And a broken system is what causes heart disease. Atherosclerosis is the disease caused by this lipid delivery cycle being broken. It's when plaques start forming in your arteries. So that's what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. When the cycle is broken, LDL cholesterol is usually high. This doesn't necessarily mean that high LDL is the sole cause. Okay. And then he does kind of an analogy, kind of similar to what I use with the fire engines. He said, what's bad is that there are not a lot of cabs around. It's not bad if the passengers, the energy, aren't getting delivered It's bad if the passengers, the energy aren't getting delivered to the proper places, or if the vehicles themselves are damaged, oxidized, yet still driving. When this happens, there is an underlying problem. Your immune system reacts and causes inflammation, which leads to plaquing. So here he says damaged LDL is the problem. There's no such thing that as good and bad cholesterol. What's bad is when your cholesterol gets damaged or oxidized. When it's damaged, your immune system traps the damaged cholesterol in your artery walls to prevent it from doing even more damage elsewhere. So that would be like the buildup, right? Mm-hmm. How do you damage your cholesterol particles? Sugar and vegetable oils, two of the first things you cut off in the carnivore diet. So that's, okay, so vegetable oils do the similar. We'll talk about all that. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to see if he just does a summary. So then he goes through all the biomarkers, which ones are predictors. So here's what it says. When it comes to biomarkers, I like to see, and then it says total. So the total, this is a ratio here, the total over the HDL, less than 4. Triglycerides over HDL less than 1. HDL greater than 40. Total, or triglycerides less than 100. Fasting insulin less than 10. Fasting glucose.
Fasting insulin less than 10?
So I don't even know what is that. I don't even know what that's. I'm probably because I'm thinking the A1C, right, like the 5 up to 5.9 or whatever. But that's got to be something. That's got to be he's using a different measurement or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never had my insulin tested.
So then he talks about, he goes through, this freaking article is long.
Right.
And he goes through carbohydrates, how they damage the arterial walls. Okay, so here's this conclusion. You've been brainwashed into believing made-up causes of heart disease. Steak, cholesterol, saturated fat. That's what's got the blame. The real causes have nothing to do with these three. They are refined carbs, seed oils, oxidized LDL particles, inflammation, damaging the glycolax. I don't even know what the hell that is. I have to go back and read this. And high blood pressure. Too little cholesterol is way worse than too much. See, that's what's interesting to me is because when you're making a choice here to lower your cholesterol, right? Because if the mindset is, I need to get my cholesterol down by any means, whether it's nutritionally or through medication, that doesn't come without a price.
Oh, yeah. No.
It's not,
Yep.
So you're not saying, oh, I just want that bad thing gone.
Yep.
You're saying, I'm going to pick a number on this scale that I'm going to be at regarding cholesterol. And I can't just eliminate the bad and creep down and have nothing but positive effects. Because if you go low, then that has consequences as well. And his thesis basically states that having low cholesterol is way worse than having high. And he even goes as far as to say meat's effect of raising cholesterol should be touted as a benefit, not a drawback. So then he goes and says how long it took him to learn all this stuff. But so that really sums it up for me. My thoughts on it. And then it's funny that you brought this up because
this is what I was reading today.
Today, yeah. So Dr. Paul, so we're looking at Dr. Paul's Carnivore MD Instagram here. And he says, you're looking at my arteries. Okay. The arteries that are supposed to be full of plaque after years of eating tons of meat and saturated fat and having an elevated, in quotes, LDL, but remaining metabolically healthy. But there is none, not one bit of plaque there. My coronary artery calcium scan was also completely clear, score of 0. I'm 44. My dad had a heart attack at the age of 43. I have a history of early heart disease in my family, but I don't have atherosclerosis, pronouncing that crappy, based on every test I've done, planning a CT angio soon. This doesn't surprise me one bit. Atherosclerosis is more complex than just LDL, bad cholesterol in parentheses. It's about metabolic health. If your doctor is only looking at LDL and ignoring triglycerides, HDL, fasting insulin, etc., they are missing the full picture. I've done many podcasts on this if you have more questions. I'll be over here eating organs, meat, and the least toxic plant foods like our ancestors and thriving. Note the lack of dogma there. He's not saying only eat animals. He's saying the least toxic plant foods.
But a year ago he was.
Right. But he's willing to adapt.
Because he's following the science.
Exactly.
So
he truly follows it.
Here.
Yeah.
On that, he posted that on Facebook.
Yep.
So I tagged my buddy, who's a cardiologist.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, well, one person's experience is not stronger than decades of research done worldwide. If this doctor feels strongly about this, he should do his own perspective study and prove the entire medical community wrong.
5 years ago, I would have said exactly. But now I go, the thought of the entire medical community being wrong doesn't seem that crazy at all. Considering that my cereal box said part of a healthy breakfast and, everything I've been told.
Yeah, but the entire medical community wouldn't argue with you about the cereal box right now.
Would they?
Yeah, no, for sure they wouldn't.
They're
No
the
way.
ones, well,
They
maybe,
wouldn't argue.
but they're not, but they're the ones that developed the freaking food pyramid that allegedly, that this whole heart hypothesis is based on. And that's their driving force, was to get us to eat more healthy grains and less saturated fat because it's clogging our arteries. And that movement was what got us where we are today. So the thought of me saying, I would say it to your friend, how's like in the Dr. Phil voice, how's it working for you? What has happened to heart disease and obesity and diabetes since the medical community decided that saturated fat was bad? They've skyrocketed.
But here's the problem. You know what else has skyrocketed in the last 25, 30 years?
Not IQ.
No, meat consumption has skyrocketed.
No. In fact, we just last week or 2 weeks ago, I shared a graph that Baker put up about how meat consumption has gone down, and we eat more plants now than we ever did because people think they're eating meat because when they have a Whopper meal,
That's meat. That's meat.
right? But it's one patty, and then
Sure.
there's a percentage.
But it's still meat.
Yeah, but it's one
you
tiny percentage of your diet. It's like a quarter of your diet, and it used to be. We'll have to find that graph, but let me see if I can find it real quick.
The bottom line for me is where I'm coming to the conclusion, not a conclusion, but yeah, meat consumption in the U.S. increased by 40% between 19 and 2017.
Right, just the amount, the full amount, but it was the percentage of the person's diet. You know what I mean? Like if your diet used to be
'cause they're eating
50% meat.
Because they're eating too much. And that's where I was going. That my conclusion is becoming that people are just eating too much food.
Well, we know that for sure because it's super hyper palatable.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you back in the 50s and
It's
then Dad came home
nutrient
with a bag of potatoes.
Right.
Guess what, guys? Here's your
Yeah.
here's your 20 potatoes. Eat as many as you want.
Yep.
Everybody had half a potato and went, I'm out.
I'm good. Anything else? Any butter?
Right.
Any sugar to wash this potato down? Nope. That's it. All right. Well, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, you can be lean, and we've talked about. I've used that example so many times because I think that example is so perfect. Because even though in my carb-fearing brain, a potato is like the worst thing you could eat, but you can't overeat a freaking potato.
You can't overeat a potato, and it does wonders for your exercise.
Yeah, in its natural form, it's
Yeah.
impossible to do. So,
Potatoes, fine.
yep,
Fat, we just have too much of it, I think.
yeah.
But
It's the mixing of all the other stuff that makes it hyper palatable.
Right.
That you can wolf it down. Well, I guess we solved it, huh?
well, we're you know what we're doing, and the entire nutrition space is doing it too, and we're falling for it. We are constantly browbeating the public with how to fucking build a watch, and they just need us to tell them what time it is.
Right. Oh, I like that. That's good. Yeah. Yep. So what Dewey's saying is just eat a bunch of ribeyes.
If that means not eating Oreos and McDonald's, start there.
Oh, exactly. Yep. Well, we solved it.
Yep,
Good.
we're done. Is that it? Good, because I'm cramping up.
What I will say though is notice how you can have a respectful discussion,
Yeah, oh yeah.
completely disagree on
what
stuff,
adults do.
and talk about it and not freak out.
And
Hearing
there's
it-
a lot of soul searching that I've been doing, and
well,
I
yeah,
have
because
to do.
this is literally
'Cause-
your life.
right.
This isn't
and it's just
theoretical.
right,
You're talking about your own health here.
right,
So you could not take this more seriously.
right.
That's why people get so emotional about it and get
And
so
sometimes,
ramped up.
in my case, it's other people's life.
Well, yeah, if you're recommending stuff to people.
Right.
Exactly.
That's hence my post on Facebook.
right. Yeah. Yep.
Some dude walks in the door and says, "I need you to fix me," and he's 400 pounds. I'm not going to go start eating ribeyes and bacon all day long.
I would.
I'm just like, whoa. Let's
Coach
hold on.
Josh would be, well, how much money you got? Let's go to Costco.
You're gonna need Lords of London as your insurance.
Oh, shit.
I think that's what it's
I
called.
just hand him a bag of potatoes.
Lord of,
Go eat as much as you want, bro.
somebody did that.
Yeah. Well, Penn Jillette.
He was a potato diet guy.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
lost like 100 pounds, just eating potatoes. So
You can lose 100 pounds if you don't eat too much.
But I would be miserable the entire time, I'll tell you that.
Would you?
Oh, God. Just a raw potato or even a cooked potato.
Yeah, raw.
Speaking of salad, I saw this this kind of sums up a nice philosophy here. How to be metabolically healthy. Eliminate seed oils, refined grains, and eat mostly animal meat and organs and some of the least toxic plant foods. It is interesting how he's became less dogmatic. He eats honey, he eats.
Well, it's because he went and
He lives in Costa Rica now. He's just like,
because he went and spent all that time with the Hansa,
right.
that tribe.
Is that what they're doing?
Yep. And it's like their diet, they're perfect. Nobody's overweight. Nobody dies of heart disease.
They're all super active.
They're all super active, healthy, happy. Mm-hmm. And
that's another
they
thing,
eat
mentally.
mostly plants.
Yeah.
Because that's all they have.
Well,
it takes so long to kill an animal.
Well, when they're hunting, they're pursuing meat.
Sure.
But they don't always get it.
Right.
Yeah, and they gnaw on some weird things that grow on the ground.
The roots.
Or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he said they don't really consume a lot of that because it's so fibrous.
Oh.
They just kind of get the juice out of it. And it's a little bit of something, but it's not like they're mowing it down.
And you see them when they pulled the honeycomb out of the tree and eating the honey.
Oh, they're
like
just
little kids on Christmas morning.
After it. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to what we're going to take the mystery out of this week. So you got to tell me about this knees over toes guy.
Wait, what? How do you make that transition? That leads us to...
Because we're defining it. That's what we always take the mystery out of something. Well, we're going to talk about this guy because I don't know. I'm going
to sum it up. I'm going to sum up knees over toe guy. He's Ben Patrick.
Okay.
He's super eccentric. I invited him on the podcast, and
he's our knees over toes guy on Instagram.
And I said, "How many followers do you have?" And he said, "I'm out." He just didn't even beat around the bush. I appreciate the honesty and the straightforwardness, but so
yeah, he'd be doing us a favor by coming on here. That's
right. Yeah, right.
Which he doesn't need to do.
Yep. So, well, he really wouldn't have us on his either.
well, I'm saying, yeah.
So, anyways, I'm going to summarize without having to go through and watch everything. I'm going to summarize. The knees over toe guy says that for the longest time, I'm going to back up for some of the listeners who may not know.
What is he contradicting?
For the longest time in the weightlifting universe, when you went into a squat or a lunge or any movement with using your legs going to the ground, never ever ever let your knees go out over your toes because it's bad.
It screws up your leverage.
It screws up alignment. The tracking of your kneecap.
Okay.
It just screws up everything. It's bad news. Okay. For the layperson, it's bad news. Well, he says what we've ended up creating is all of these athletes doing all of these strength movements with never, ever, ever putting their knees over their toes. And then they go into sport and their fucking knees naturally go over their toes and they get hurt.
So the functional movement of the movements they actually need to perform in their sports require that. But they haven't ever trained it.
Yeah. And then they get hurt.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then what does the community say? You got hurt. You shouldn't have been. You've got to keep your knees back.
Right. Which you can't do if you're trying to do a functional movement in a sport that requires that.
Right. So he has the stats don't lie.
So when he trains squats and stuff, he's saying.
Yeah, he's saying, we're like here with his mom.
Right here. Oh,
right there. Yeah. Look at them. Their knees are way out over their toes.
Right. Okay.
And I have a bad knee. I get runner's knee here, and it bothers me sometimes. When I do squats like that, nothing.
Wow.
I feel nothing.
So what the hell is he doing there?
Just jumping. That's just
slow-mo jump.
Yep. And where does his knees go? Out over his toes. That's a functional jump. That's a basketball player.
This is an example of something not possible without knees over toes. I suppose because then you're never working certain muscles in certain ways if you don't.
Well, just tell someone to jump.
Right.
Without teaching them, just telling them, hey, jump in the air.
They're for sure going to bend down enough where their knees go
Right.
over. Yeah. Right. Wow.
So he ended up, his long story is he ended up playing basketball and he couldn't jump. And he ended up doing all this research.
Hey, here's you.
Oh, yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
Dewey's got a comment on here.
Yeah, and that's true. I literally stopped doing any of those movements where my knee never went over my toes because it hurt. Right. And I started doing those squats. He's doing those angle squats that he's doing with his mom, and knee pain gone.
Go on YouTube. We're playing his Instagram video here.
So don't go on YouTube. Go on Instagram.
Wow. But if they go watch us on
go
YouTube.
On YouTube.
Yeah, watch us. See, come on, you want to come through us, baby.
Oh, okay.
And his mom's 67. She has done zero and dense. That must be his programs.
Yeah. That's just what he's titled his programs.
Right. Okay.
So if you listen to any of his videos where he speaks a lot, he's a little different.
Right. He's a little eccentric.
Yeah, but he's just super, super smart. Like he said, if you want something bad enough, you'll do it. And he said, I gave up entertainment for a year, an entire year of no TV, no Netflix, no cell phone, nothing, to create this.
Right.
And he said it was family and this and zero entertainment.
Right.
And he said now he's here and he can't keep up.
Wow.
And he said, yeah, I gave up a year, but now look what I got.
And he built it, yep.
Yep.
And then I found another article here where it talks about kind of a critique, not a critique, but just a summarization.
Yeah,
kind of
I looked at a couple too before
legit.
I really, that's the guy. Yep. I actually watched this guy.
Yep.
His YouTube video.
Yep. Is his advice legit?
Yep.
How he thought he was kind of kooky when he first saw him, and now his YouTube channel's blowing up. So he kind of goes into it a little bit here. So, and then there's a 2-part series. So I'll post this article so people can, but yeah, okay. Rehab and injury prevention, longevity.
He has over 3,000 success stories of people who can barely walk when they came to him and now they run.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
That is crazy. All just by training in a little bit different way.
Yep.
It's one of those ones that seems so simple.
Guess what? One of the main things is, you probably saw it on his Instagram page, but guess what? One of the main things that I started incorporating, and I don't care that I feel like an idiot and look like an idiot.
Pirouettes.
Running backwards.
Oh.
He said, we spend all this time walking and running forward. We never walk or run backwards.
Right. Well, yeah, because it makes sense that that muscle group would be
the antagonist
underused.
muscle group. Yeah, you don't ever use, and it's when I do, I feel good.
Sense. Well, yeah, because like if your standard movements, you're always pushing or something, and you're not, or if you're not, doing the just working the muscle the other way rather than just like doing a curl. If you're not moving it back,
right?
You got to go all ways.
Yeah,
to trigger all.
Yeah,
the
that's like only doing curls. Yeah, good point.
Yep. Wow. Okay, so knees over toes. He's legit. Well, we solved that too. Good. We're solving lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into our subject.
We better save some stuff or we're not going to have jobs.
I found this funny meme too. Speaking of tracking, it says it has a like what the hell face, and it says when you've already calculated your macros and someone asks to take a bite. I can see Dewey doing this. It's like, no, that's 200 calories. I'm not giving you 10 of them. I'm getting my 200 in.
I wouldn't be that biggie. I just work a little extra.
Okay, so let's talk about tracking.
God, I'm sweating like a slut in church. Seriously.
It is a little hot in here. It's because my AC costs a freaking ton to run in here, so I only turn it on when I know I'm going to be in here. Yeah. Because I got my bill the other day, and it was like $200, and I'm only in here like a couple days a week, so I'm like, I need to kill it when I'm not in here.
Right.
Okay,
smart.
Let's talk about tracking here. So,
tracking.
So
the foundation.
I think
of weight loss.
If I can sum up, I think people lie to themselves. That's my summation of this of why people need to do it. And you've experienced this when you get people started with coaching. In fact, you don't tell them to here eat this, this, and this. You say just input what you eat.
Just live your normal life.
Because we need to see what you're actually putting in.
Yep.
Because how do you know?
And just like me with the caffeine, they automatically start dieting.
They probably, there's no way to.
But it doesn't last long. That's why I make it like 2 weeks. Because if I just say, let's just track for the next 4 days, they'll be flawless.
Yep.
I'd be like, you don't even need me. But for 2 weeks, guess what? There's going to be a couple weekends in there.
Back,
There's going to be a couple birthdays popping up. They're going to go to the lake.
They creep back into their habits.
Yep. So one of two things happens. I get a real accurate glimpse, or they don't track.
Right. Yep.
Or they only track the good stuff.
So here's a few phrases people exclaim. I'm only eating 800 calories, but I'm not losing weight.
Impossible.
Bullshit. I've tracked everything, so I must be in starvation mode or something.
Impossible.
I hate my parents for giving me terrible genetics.
Stupid.
You may have uttered or heard these words before. Well, the idea of consuming an incredibly low-calorie diet and not losing weight may sound as if the weight loss gods have laid an irreversible curse upon you. Unfortunately, it probably just isn't true.
But it's easy. But it's easy to go, not my fault. Pass the pizza.
Pass the blame on. The real reason you're not, or you believe you're only consuming 800 calories a day and not losing weight, because you're not tracking. Yep, you're guessing. Okay, so number one is
you're guessing, and that bowl of Cocoa Pops looks like about 50 grams. Well, that's twofold, because what people think is a cup or an ounce or a gram.
Oh, God. So wrong.
They're so wrong.
So wrong.
And then it's compounded by the games they play on the labels.
Oh, yeah.
The nutritional labels.
Oh, right. Well, okay, like I don't know, like a bag of chips or whatever. It'll say how many servings, and you're like, no, that's one serving, maybe two, right? It's not 5 servings, 8 servings.
Right. And they did it for the longest time. I think they changed it, but they did it with Gatorade.
It'd say 2
like
servings?
2 or 3.
Oh, give me a break.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, here's a little experiment. Like, and if you ever ran a class in person or whatever, I would hand everybody like a bowl of Special K or a box of Special K and say, pour a serving.
Yep.
Pour a bowl. And then
you can even look if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Pour your bowl, and then measure the amount they put in the bowl. I guarantee it's going to be double the serving size.
It's going to be 2 or 3 servings.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right.
Every time.
But if you ask your average person, they're going to say, I had 1 serving of a Special K. It's like, no, you had 3. Mm-hmm. So right out of the get-go, the first thing you eat all day, you're off, 3 times by a factor of 3. So yeah, people cannot estimate.
Then I have to pull that back and say, well, what kind of milk did you use? Oh, I didn't enter milk. Did you eat it?
Yes. Exactly.
Oh, okay. I'll find milk.
Right.
Well, what kind? Oh, 2%.
Yeah.
Well,
there's a bunch of sugar.
Probably more calories in that milk.
Right.
And you didn't add it.
Do you think it's a serving of milk?
Yeah, it's not a
It's
cup.
probably 3 servings of milk.
Yeah, if you do where you can only
bowl.
see a little bit of the cereal at the top, that's like 3 cups of milk.
Right. Exactly. So you're off on the cereal, you're off on the milk. I mean, your 1 bowl of cereal, you've screwed the pooch hard.
You know what I just thought of? When you eat that bowl and you have a lot of milk and there's milk left over and you're just like, whatever, I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit in there to finish off that milk.
Yep.
That's probably a serving.
That's probably a serving. And the amount of milk left in there, that's probably a serving of milk.
Right.
Yeah. If you have somebody eat a full bowl, whatever's left over, pour a little cereal in there. There.
Right.
There's your serving of cereal and milk.
Right.
Yeah, the realistic version. Oh, God. Yeah, so people, you're guessing. That's number 1 in this article. Okay. And then you're just starting off completely wrong. So, and as we know, even if we talk about CECO, calories in, calories out, as being true, but yet not that important, or not the most important thing, ultimately you do have to eat less calories than you're burning. So you do have to know where you stand. And how are you going to know unless you track?
Right.
Okay, it says number 2, you're entering generic things. Okay, like it says like you hop into MyFitnessPal and type in protein pancakes, except for they can vary wildly, right?
Because it's like Wikipedia.
Right.
People can just put shit in there.
Oh, dude, when I make my chaffles, you know, like I'll use eggs and cheese basically, and then I can put a scoop of vanilla protein powder in there sometimes just to make them like smell really good and get my protein up. But that'll wildly change the amounts that I'm consuming.
Absolutely.
Based on whether you 1 scoop, 2 scoops, how many eggs, am I measuring the cheese that's going in there, all that stuff.
Or toast. Did you track the butter? Oh no, I didn't use much though. You used 100 calories worth.
Well, yeah, right, exactly.
Without a question.
Yeah, how calorically dense is butter?
Right.
I mean, if you're tracking calories, you gotta factor it in. This sounds like you wrote this article. Weekend? What weekend? Everything seems to go out the window at the weekend. Well, that's true. And if everybody's all hammered and stuff, like how accurately are you tracking what you're throwing down your gullet?
Right.
You know,
they're not.
When it's pizza time.
And that's
2
where,
a.m.
like I said, I've done the math where if you work hard all week long, if you started your diet on a Monday and you busted your ass all week long, you can completely reverse what you did on just Saturday.
Oh, yeah. It can be 5 steps forward, 6 steps back in one day.
Right.
You know, that one day can be 6 steps back. Oh, yeah. I've been there for sure.
Well, if 3,500 calories equals a pound of fat, and you need to, in 7 days, you need to be in a 500 calorie deficit.
Per day, yep.
Per day. So if you go Monday through Friday in a 500.
So you're 2,000, 2,500.
2,500. And then all of a sudden now the weekend comes.
And you go over by 25.
Right. Easily.
You erase it completely.
Easily. So everything you did during the week is gone.
Yeah, because
and people are like,
how many beers and a couple pieces of pizza,
nachos.
You're there.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, you're forgetting. Okay, there's another point. You're forgetting. You've had a long day at work. The kids are wreaking havoc. The cat's been sick on the carpet, and you still got to track your food. You sit down and attempt to log everything you've consumed for the day.
Do it while you're eating.
Right. What you think you consumed is probably quite far from what you actually had, however. Yeah, this is nailing all of them. Okay. Oh, here's a good one. You weigh your food cooked and input it raw or vice versa.
That's stupid. I don't care about that.
You don't care about that?
No.
Okay.
No. That's minutia.
Okay.
It's not going to change it that much.
Right. Okay.
Maybe if you're a bodybuilder,
yeah,
you're going to go on stage.
Right. If you got to be that crucial.
Yeah, I don't want to see anybody who needs to lose 65 pounds weighing their raw food versus cooked. Just eat this amount.
Right. Okay, you choose the low-calorie option. You've had pizza for lunch and decide that despite not wanting to make your PT cry, you should probably enter the details into your food diary. Holy crap, you realize it was 800 calories. You scroll down and find a similar one for 550. Phew, you think that will do. You think that will do. Can you see what you just did? Oh, you chose the low-calorie option doesn't mean those extra calories you actually consumed don't exist. So basically lying into the tracker.
For sure.
Yeah, well, that's bullshit then. You're only hurting yourself at that point. I mean, what's the point of tracking if you're not going to be accurate about it? So, yeah.
But then...
That's a really good one.
But then guess what kicks in?
Rationalizations.
Toddler brain.
Oh, yes.
I don't want to.
I don't want to.
I don't want to.
Yep.
I don't want to track my food every single day.
Well, then enjoy being fat.
Right.
And this kind of, tracking is
everywhere. You don't have to track. I can.
No.
One day we can figure it out and be dialed in perfect.
Yep.
Guess what? You got to eat that every fucking day.
Right.
That's it. That's how you don't track.
And some people are creatures of habit. They can do that. 2 eggs, one of these, boom, I'm done.
Dude, I wake up every morning now, 1 egg and a cup of egg whites and 3 pieces of turkey bacon.
Right.
It's the same every day. I just
exact amount.
And as I'm eating it, I'm on Fat Secret, plugging it in.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, stick to the same routine. That's one way to really nail it.
But people are like, I'm not a dog. It's food. It's not entertainment.
Right. I look at it, it's like it's medicine. It's like time to just take which it literally is.
Right.
You just got to eat.
But it can be entertainment. You can travel abroad and you can go do cool stuff.
Yeah.
Just not every day.
And you have to understand that it's okay. You're going to be giving up, and it's going to be it is a sacrifice.
Right.
Because you are giving up some of that hyperpalatability.
And it's a sacrifice for a while.
A short-term sacrifice for
until
a
you
long-term
get
good.
Until you get to, you know what? Let's just put our nose down, do the work, sacrifice, get to our goal, and then we can go into maintenance. Exactly. And then the whole world opens back up within reason.
You don't have to start creeping right back up. Now, when I was thinking about this topic, I realized that it's not just for food and nutrition. I mean, tracking is applicable everywhere.
You can't.
Have you ever argued with your wife about spending?
Yeah, you can't. You can't measure what
Have
you
you
can't
have
track.
you ever said, something? I'm not saying you, but just any person in a relationship
Right.
where you share finances,
Right.
where you're like, and I hate this argument because I hate the stupid. If you quit buying your latte every day, you'll be a bazillionaire, because that's kind of a stupid argument, but it is applicable here, just for simple illustrative meaning. Okay, you don't even realize what you're spending. Like, let's just say Starbucks once a day, it's $6 now, plus $1 tip. So $7 a day. And if you're going 5 days a week, that's $35 a week times 4. You're talking,
Yeah,
that's your cable bill. That's a bill,
absolutely.
so, you're not going to be a bazillionaire by just cutting out your lattes. But I guarantee if you ask most people, like, what are you spending on Starbucks? They have no concept that it's that high. And I did this once way back in the day when I first got QuickBooks,
Yep.
like on my laptop. We're talking 20 years ago. And for a year, I literally carried around a little thing in my wallet and wrote down every time I spent a penny.
Really?
And it was hilarious because at the end of the year, I spent like $1,000 on Burger King alone. And
Jeez.
and that wasn't even, I don't know how much I spent on this is when I was traveling on the road to the band,
Sure.
so we were always on the road, but
Right.
just like Burger King was like $1,000, and then all the fast food was ridiculous.
Just
And-
makes my gut hurt
Oh
thinking
yeah.
about it.
Well, but if you would have said, "Tell me how much you spent at Burger King," I mean, I would have never guessed it was $1,000
$200
in a year,
maybe. Yeah.
considering all the other fast food places we went in addition to that.
Right.
So
Probably talking 5Gs.
yeah, so when I tracked it, I was like, "Wow, it was really, really eye opening."
Yep.
And I'm sure I would have guessed way low if I
sure.
was going to estimate. So, so there's lots of reasons to track. So milestones, that's another big one, right? Obviously, if you're tracking your calories, that's to get to a goal. Well, that's why you track your weight, you track your body fat percentage, your measurements, all the other things, because you want to see you achieve these milestones, because that you reward yourself. That's why I track my what I'm lifting, right? The amounts, the weight. How many chin-ups can I do? Which is
Right.
20 now, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm going about one every 2 weeks.
Nice.
Creeping. So it's doing good.
Doing that negative overload.
Yeah, on the last one, I like hang on. Like I pretend like I'm on a cliff.
Right.
And then if I let go, I'm dead. And try to hang on as long as I can. So it's kind of a psychological trick there. So here it says creating a baseline. So you kind of like, that's why you have people track when they start
Right.
coaching. So you
Right.
know what you're working with to begin with. Psychological factor. If you've ever tried to change a habit, you have to make sure that you're aware of it. If you want to change your spending, you need to be aware of what you're currently spending, where you're currently spending your money. Oh, here it even says right here, if you're in the habit of buying a cup of coffee every morning, you may not really be aware of it anymore. Yeah, that's so true. And it's a way of staying on track. If you're working on a long-term project, it can be difficult to stay focused. Lots of problems or habits you might consider tracking count as long-term projects. So by writing something down daily you've done that contributed, whether positively or negatively, to a project, is an easy way to make sure that you make at least a little progress over time. So, and then, okay, here's another one, proving your point. Having a detailed record of what you've been up to can come in handy. Yeah, so you want to know, like, what was I doing when this was working? What were my numbers? You have a record of it down the line. So I'll post that article too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, here's another one about tracking your spending. A lot of the same stuff.
Yep.
You'll spend more mindfully.
And
You
you'll
had
eat more mindfully.
right. You had this in the eating because you were tracking your caffeine. You consume less.
Right.
So just the act of being observed does influence your behavior.
Yep.
So that's a piece.
I'm surprised one of the pitfalls they didn't mention in the tracking calories is condiments.
Oh yeah,
It's huge.
that is so big.
Ranch.
Oh, ranch
Ketchup.
is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ranch is full of seed oils and it's got tons of calories in it.
Yeah. Sugar.
Yo, sugar. Yeah, exactly.
And ketchup is sugar and salt.
Yeah. So what I was going to go through a couple app recommendations. Like what's the one you use when you're tracking your food?
I use Fat Secret because Fat Secret allows me a professional option where if you go and create an account, you can put me in there as your professional.
Right.
And then I see your shit every day.
Right. another accountability piece there. And then the one they were talking about was MyFitnessPal. That seems to be the most popular
It
one.
is. And I always tell everybody, find something you're comfortable with and use it.
Yeah.
I prefer you use Fat Secret because it gives me a report.
Yep.
But that said, they're all just different versions of the mousetrap.
Exactly.
So, I mean, this chronometer, there's literally thousands of them.
Yep.
What I'm waiting for is then for someone to come out with a white label. And I'm just going to do Next 40
Right.
and have my own tracker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why not? Shit.
There is one out there, but I found them, but I'm not impressed. They're not ready.
Right. All right, guys. Well, got to wrap it up because Daddy gets to be somewhere.
Nice.
The moral of the story is track your shite.
Yes.
Track
Track.
your shite, okay.
You don't know where you're going if you don't know where you're at.
That's right. You got to know. All right, guys. Well, make sure you're going to furiousmerch.com, getting some of these sweet shirts. I thought of another cool shirt, by the way, when I was wearing my sleeveless shirt at a gig the other day. And we were joking around saying, sun's out, guns out. And I thought, yeah, but I'm still wearing this even if it rains. Rains out, gains out.
There you go.
So I'm going to make one of them.
I like
I'm
it.
going to design that and make it.
I like it.
So yeah, go to furiousmerch.com, support the show, send us emails to info@fitandfurious.com.
Ask us some damn questions.
Yeah, what do you want to know about out there? Make sure you're watching on YouTube to check out the shenanigans and all the valuable visuals and weekly extra content. Check us out anywhere audio podcasts are found, Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, etc. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share. And we will see you next week.